Hello and welcome to NSE Prosperous India in association with Times Network, a very special initiative where we're reaching out to people and talking to them about the importance of investing correctly, of managing their finances and ensuring that their financial journey is prosperous. And in these special episodes, we're meeting people from different walks of life and we're talking to them about what are some of their goals, some of their aspirations and how they can match that with their finances or ways to grow their finances so that they can fulfill these dreams. First up on this episode, we have Harshvardhan Roongta. He's a certified financial planner with Roongta Securities. Hi Harsh, thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
And our two special guests, allow me to introduce them to you. First up, we have Mrs. Veronica D'Souza. Hi ma'am, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And Mr. KT Krishnan. Hi sir, thank you so much for coming. Veronica, ma'am, first tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been on the medical side where I was the nursing superintendent for Bombay Hospital. After I retired from there, I joined SRCC, managed by Narayana Health, as a trainer for the operation theatres.
Well, that's amazing to hear. Mr. Krishnan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am from Kerala actually. After my education, I joined in one of the paramilitary forces, that is CISF, and I served there about 40 years and 6 months service.
Right.
Then after retirement, I am just living in Bombay with my son.
Superb, great. Harsh, why do they need to worry about finances? Why do they need to know about investor awareness initiatives, education, your series like this? What's your take on that?
So well, Sumit, while you're earning, there is a challenge to meet your household expenses, there is a challenge to meet work commitments, your family, your social obligations, your children's future requirements, education, marriage, all that is what you're doing while you're working and earning. Post-retirement, the only thing that stops is actually worrying about your family. Otherwise, you're still handling money. It's not that you're not handling money. You would have requirements for your day-to-day living. You have aspirations for the future. You may want a good holiday, once in probably a year or once in 2 years.
Right.
You may want to leave some legacy behind for your children. So you are managing money at all stages of your life,
right.
Whether you're, even if you're in a school or a college, there's a pocket money that you're receiving, right?
Yes.
And if you're planning to spend it in a particular manner, you're managing money, right? Yes. So you manage money till the time you're surviving. Okay, so until your last breath, you're actually going to deal with money. You're going to spend, you're going to, get some form of income, which will be pension, which could be income on your investments, but you're managing money. So it's always good at all levels to know what is appropriate in that life stage.
Okay.
And hence, I'm very happy that you're actually taking the time out and wanting to know what to do with money even after retirement. So I think there's no age to handle money.
Superb, that's good. Ma'am, coming to you first, just some thoughts if you would like to share with us about what are your current goals.
I plan to enjoy my hobbies, which I never got a chance to take, forward.
Right.
I plan to go fishing with my husband, who loves fishing, and utilize the money for ourselves, because all this while we've been just saving for the children, for their future, their education, and we never ever thought that we had needs. We always sacrificed our needs. So now is the time for both of us to enjoy our life and spend what is saved on the talents that we have.
Superb, great. Harsh, your take on these are very valid points that she's brought up here.
So, when you look at a typical lifespan of a service, a person who's been salaried, as rightly said, we've always been, managing everything just about there. We've never thought about our own needs because it's always our responsibilities that take over. So we have children's education to fund, we have their marriage, we have to plan for our own retirement. So not necessarily be able to do everything that we feel like while we're working. Now rightly, now you're retired, you're pursuing work, of course, to keep yourself occupied and use your talent and your knowledge. But yes, why not go fishing?
Harsha, what are your inputs on this? While we are pursuing these hobbies or things that we want to do, they still have responsibilities, and one major responsibility that's started coming up in this generation is healthcare.
Absolutely.
We're living longer and unfortunately not the healthiest lives anymore.
Correct.
How do you guide them to ensure that they're able to meet these medical expenses that obviously come up unexpected, unknown?
Yeah, so ideally you would insure yourself and avail of a hospitalization benefit policy called Mediclaim popularly at an early age. So many individuals, I take this example and even communicate to the others, even if your employer is providing you with a health insurance, make sure that you have a health insurance of your own while you're working and you're young. continue that so that it helps you post-retirement as well. Many individuals have this thought that we are covered by our employers. When we retire, at that point in time, we will go and buy ourselves a health insurance, which may not be possible because of existing ailments that you may have. So the first lesson, not theoretically directed at you, but for everybody else who's watching, make sure you have your own independent health insurance policy and you continue it after retirement as well. Now coming to you, so CGHS, you're covered under the CGHS, so you are covered under this. Maybe you're not covered.
You're not covered.
So do you have a health insurance policy for yourself?
Yes, I have.
So one good part, yes, being from medical field, I think she's taken that initiative to know.
Domain expertise, so she knows the importance of that.
Yeah.
It's very important for us.
So first element is to have a health insurance. The second element is to have adequate health insurance.
Yes.
So just having insurance is not sufficient. What is adequate is that you have to keep in mind not the current cost of treatment. You have to take in consideration what the cost escalation of cost is going to be in the future as well.
Of course.
So given the structures that we have today, given the possibilities of buying health insurance, a base policy and a super top up, try and combine this and have a cover of beyond 20-25 lakhs. Earlier the conventional thinking was that a 5 lakh policy is good enough, but not anymore. And interestingly for you, I mean, up till your age of 65 and 70, you can still enroll into a health insurance policy. So it's not too late even now. In case you believe that you have insufficient insurance, you can buy more of it even now. So that's one part.
Right.
Now, assuming a situation where you would not get health insurance, there is a possibility.
Yes.
Now, in that case, then it all boils down to budgeting. We have a certain source of income, which is pension in your case and the work that you're doing right now. One portion you will have to set aside for medical emergencies. Now that amount could be an X, what you could figure that out. You could say that it could be a 5 lakhs, it could be a 10 lakhs, which will be lying available in some form which is easily liquidable. So which means even if it generates less returns, that's fine, but just make sure that that money is available for the treatment that you have to undertake. If it's not used, very nice. If it comes in use, you should have that money available.
Mr. Krishna, your thoughts, any goals, aspirations that you have? You mentioned you have a grandchild also.
I am getting monthly pension.
Right.
See, out of this pension, some amount, some little bit amount, say I am putting in the SIP.
Lovely.
In my grandson's this thing. So I did not put any period, because it's a small kid now.
Lovely.
It's only 4-5 years now. See, I may continue as far as possible. So let it be there. This is in addition to his father's care. It is only my care, because his needs will be much more, because he's a very small boy. And giving a good education, that is the main purpose of my this. It's a support of this.
That's a very important point, Harsh, because people sometimes feel that, but I think this is the part of India where our investing is dynastic. So it's not just investing for ourselves, we're investing for the next generation and then the one after that. Like Mr. Krishna is investing for his grandchild. So in this kind of mutual funds that he's already doing, what would be a nice mutual fund to invest in, looking that it's a long-term goal?
So there are two elements of investing post-retirement. So one element is how do you invest your retirement benefits that you receive at the time of retirement for your own self.
Right.
So we'll come to it a little later maybe. And specific question on this is, I have certain surpluses because you're leading a disciplined life, you have sufficient pension, there's some money left with yourself, you're living with your children anyways. So the idea is that why not invest that for the benefit of the grandchild, as you rightly thought.
Of course.
Now when you look at investing for him, there are few things that you need to have in mind. As you said, there is no timeline, because your son is taking care of all the detail of all the requirements in any case. This is more as a gift to him and to help him whenever your grandchild is requiring that kind of money. Now, because you have a clear timeline in ahead of you, that this money is not going to be required for 10 years, 15 years, or say probably 18-20 years from now, then certainly you will look for wealth appreciation.
Yes,
you look at growth. Now growth comes in long term, growth comes in from equities. It comes in from investing into businesses. Either you do business yourself or you invest in somebody else's business. So when you invest in somebody's business, you're effectively buying shares of that business. So buying a share in that business. So the whole idea is, equities is that you're actually doing business without actually doing anything yourself.
Right.
You're only a financial investor. Now how do you go about selecting which company to buy? It's a Herculean task by itself. So you don't do that yourself.
See, in fact, I am having this trading also. It's a demat account also, because not in much way. A little bit I am doing also Of course, in some way it is loss or also, but in general it's okay, no problem. That way also we can do it, because when I am retiring and say I got, because we must have a educated knowledge on that way.
That's true.
Because that is actually lacking. We all be cheated. Say somebody is, some financial will come and say this, that we put in that and lose the money.
So that's entirely the idea, that first is you're believing that if I want my money to grow faster than inflation, it has to grow more than inflation, then I need to invest into businesses. Now, either you buy shares directly, or if you don't know how to buy shares directly, which is the case with most of us also. I mean, we do not really know, and we don't have the research capability to decide which company to buy, and when to sell, most importantly. So what we do is we outsource this entire activity to mutual funds. Mutual funds is that organization which helps you invest on your behalf and put in their expert knowledge. So equities would be the way in this particular case, and since you're getting an income which is monthly, you invest monthly. So that is a systematic investment plan. And just continue doing SIPs into good funds, leave it as it is, let the money grow. Obviously you will evaluate the fund performance, but not, you will, if the fund is not doing well, does not mean that you move out of equities completely. You move out of the fund but go into another fund. But continue to be in equities.
On that note, it's time for a very short break. You're watching NSE Prosperous India in association with Times Network. We'll be right back. Welcome back to NSE Prosperous India in association with Times Network. I have three very special guests here. We have Harshvardhan Roongta, and he's helping and guiding two very special individuals, Mrs. Veronica D'Souza and Mr. K.T. Krishnan. Let's continue the conversation. Ma'am, you had a query about something that you wanted to ask.
Yes, suppose I have invested my money through X. He has done all the mutual funds, he's done everything explained, but even what he explains I don't understand because it's not my field. But what I want to know is that tomorrow something happens to me. See, when you have the money, everybody chases you because they want to invest your money. They're your best friends, they're the kindest people on earth, they're ready to do anything. But I've noticed once you finish investing with them and you have nothing, they know that you're not going to invest anymore because abhi iska retirement ka paisa is over. You'll find, or slowly the person doesn't even call you. He doesn't even contact you. God forbid something happens to me and the person is not contactable, or my family tries to contact the person and he doesn't respond back. How does my family get all that back, what is invested?
So this is a very, very important question, and this throws in a lot of other things that we will be talking about. The first element is, ma'am, you must remember, whenever you are investing through an advisor, the advisor is only an intermediary. Your money is actually getting invested into a particular organization. So even if the advisor is not available for whatever reasons, ideally he should be, but let's not get into that area. So even if he is not available, your nominees, whoever is entitled, your legal heirs, are entitled to go to that organization and take the money directly. So what it means, there are two things that I have highlighted in this conversation. One is, you will need to nominate. Whatever investments you are making, make sure there is a nominee mentioned over there, and you need to also make a will, so that eventually the claimant is going to be a legal heir. Nominee is only a trustee. So nominee only gives a valid discharge to that organization. So please make sure that you have nominations in all your investments. The second is, how would your nominees know where you've invested? So only if they know where they've invested can they go and claim that money, right? So make sure you keep a record of that. So advisor is your touch point. Does not mean your money is kept with him. Update your KYCs. Now this is another very important factor, especially for service individuals who transferable job.
Yes.
Because they give their address as a communication address at one particular place and then they move out.
Yes.
And they don't update
Even
their
after
addresses.
retirement, you moved out from where you were staying close to the place of work and you moved away back to your hometown. There's no
So now there is a facility of a central KYC, there is a CKYC, so which means you update it on CKYC and it automatically gets updated in all the financial services. I mean, gets updated with banks, it gets updated with mutual funds. So you must update your KYC. I mean, that's in fact a message to all investors.
Exactly.
Is it necessary that suppose you've invested your money from this bank account that you're in Mumbai and tomorrow you shut down this account and you go back to your hometown and there that bank is not there, you have another bank?
So you will have to update the bank with your investments as well. Suppose you invested in mutual funds and you've linked a particular bank account.
Yes.
Now you've closed that bank account, you moved to another city, another town, whatever. You opened a new bank account. Now that new bank account needs to be updated in your folio in the mutual funds, so that if there is a redemption, they will not send a check out to you, they will give a direct credit into your bank, for which they need to have the bank updated. Now you don't need to go to the fund house directly. They have registrars and transfer agents who are across. You can go to any of the branches once you have your folio number, and you ask them for a bank updation request form. So there will be an old bank account cancelled check, a new. You will just fulfill that and upload it. Once you hand it over to them, they will update the system, and then again it will be back to normal. So just you'll have to, for most importantly, invariably the investors, lose out on the fact that they've just simply not updated themselves and their data onto the systems.
See, is there any system? Suppose see, I got a folio mutual fund, this and that. For a certain period I invested this and that. And subsequently say I am closing it. Well, closing is, see, there is no response from my side. I am, say, neither I am investing nor I am communicating this and that thing. Is there any system with that particular company or organization or whatever maybe? Even in bank also, I am talking about even government bank also. See, they are having my nominee address also.
Correct.
Either they should try to contact me directly after certain times, or they should intimate the nominee. See, this is the fund balance we are having this thing, and no more further this thing. See, they can find out. See, there may be cases. This nominee may be. See, is there any system? I don't know.
No, so actually, there's no such system that if you don't hear anything or no fresh investments come, the fund houses will send out a communication to either the unit holder or the nominee. No, because there are many investors we encourage to actually invest and forget. That's actually the purpose of investing. So they don't send those out. But most importantly, as and when you suppose it's been in no man's zone. Nobody has been communicated either sides, and if there is no KYC updated, so if there is an action to be initiated, so then there will be an email sent out, like your KYC has not been updated. So they'll prompt you to do that. So if there is some action initiated, then of course they will try and reach you, but they'll reach out to you on your address which has not been updated. They'll reach out to you on your mobile number, an SMS will come which is not updated. They'll come up, they'll send you an email which is not updated. So how will they contact you? So what happens if you have made a list of things of your investments with some reference to it, then your nominee is made aware of it. So there are two things. You need to make that list and also make your nominee aware that there's something like this exists. You may have a meticulously prepared list by yourself, but your nominee doesn't know where the list is. So it becomes like a hidden treasure where somebody will have to go on a treasure hunt. So in that case, just make sure there is somebody who's aware of this.
Well, we're just about out of time, but before I let all of you go, just Harsh, if you could share maybe 2-3 pointers with them, kind of like, after this session, if they head out, some 2-3 pointers that are the most important things that they should put into practice so that they can, keep the journey going.
Yes, absolutely. So the first one being, of course, don't shy away from handling money. We normally come across people who are just too scared to handle money. They're geniuses in their own field, they're experts in their own fields. Okay, it's just that when it comes to money, you just want to shy away. You feel that it's not my job and I don't want to think about it. Well, it's not very difficult, quite honestly. As I said, we just put basic common sense in place. We are Indians. We are very conservative in our nature. We are all-rounders. If we were to put our minds, as Indians, we were to put our minds to study something, we will understand it. We multitask anyways. We are not compartmentalized or we are not computerized as in the Western worlds are. Okay, a person working on his desktop will not know what's happening beside. So we know what's happening all across our locality. Okay, so we multitask. If we were to give some mind to this and show some interest that I want to manage my money, and it's not a difficult thing to do. We are expecting people to become experts. Just be friendly with money. It's your own money, and if you want, you can only do the basic budgeting and apply common sense at all times. What you're getting today may be sufficient for today's expenses, but what about 10 years, 15 years from now? How would you meet your expenses at that point in time? When your pension may not be sufficient with the rising income. What you're doing right now, you may not be able to work because of physical limitations. So how do you survive at that point in time? At that point in time, this equity investment kept aside to be used 10 years later will come into play. So there is some portion of money you have to think even 10 years from now. So that's retirement after retirement. So while during your working life you're thinking of retirement, now post-retirement there's another 10-15 years later. That is going to be a second stage of retirement after retirement, where you're going to be completely, possibly God forbid it so happens, but physically you may not be able to be as mobile as you are today. Medical expenses, there will be a nurse, a full-time assistant that you will need at that point in time. So that's retirement after retirement. So that period is again that phase that you're keeping money aside for. And equity works brilliantly in that phase. So there are 3-4 things that I think if you just do so much, I think it's fine.
Thank you so much, Harsh, for coming in and sharing so much information. Thank you, Mrs. D'Souza. Thank you, Mr. Krishnan, for coming in. I hope it's been helpful to you.
it
And
has.
thank you so much for watching NSE Prosperous India in association with Times Network. We hope the series has helped you throughout to plan your financial journey in a better way. Thank you so much for watching.